What's going on, guys? Shooting Dave here, so good to see your faces. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're new here and you don't know what I'm about, well, I'm a photographer from London that now lives here in Los Angeles, and I make photo and video editing tutorials. So, if that sounds like something of interest to you, then please do consider subscribing. It is 2021. Happy New Year. Now, I hope some of you have some goals and resolutions for the coming year, and if you don't, well, I might just have something for you. Today, we are going to be talking about developing a robust workflow, whether you're a photographer or a videographer. Now, I know workflow might not be the most interesting of topics, however, a good one will save you from losing files, keep yourself more organized, and generally just make content generation that much smoother. Before I get into the file structure of things, I want to talk about what I actually store my content on. I do not store any photos or footage on my MacBook Pro. Instead, I use external hard drives. Specifically the Samsung T5 or T7 hard drives. I find these to be incredibly reliable, they're super lightweight, and now they've actually come down in price, they're quite affordable. Previously they used to be biblically expensive, but a 1TB T7 will now set you back about $150, whereas in the past it used to cost upwards of $500, and I haven't got that kind of money. Now, at the start of every year, I buy a brand new hard drive, and I do this for two reasons. Number one, well, I typically fill up a hard drive every year, and number two is that I will not keep them going for more than a year. So why would I do that? Well, before I moved to SSD drives, I actually used to use traditional spinning drives, and I used to keep years and years of content on there. Now, what happened at one point is one of those drives decided to fail, and that meant that I lost absolutely everything that I'd ever taken a photograph of or videos, and that really hurt me. So I had to develop a new plan on how to manage my data and how to organize my workflow so I can prevent that from happening again. And just so you're aware, these are not the only copies that I have of my data. I have it all backed up on another drive, which I'll get into a little bit later. Okay, let's unbox this, plug it in, and I'll walk you through how I set up my workflow. Now, the first thing that I do is actually print out a label and stick it to the hard drive, naming the year that that drive is from. Now, this is 2021, so I put a label on the drive saying 2021. I also named the hard drive 2021. Original, I know. Now, it all starts with a blank folder, and you can think of this as the master folder. Now, inside of there is a bunch of subfolders, so we'll go through this at top level first of all. So as I create the folder, inside of that I'll make a folder called footage, that's where all your footage is going to live, a folder called JPEG, a folder called raw, renders, and then thumbnail. So the footage folder will have, again, some more subfolders inside of that, and typically I create a subfolder per camera that I own. So Canon M50, Canon 5D Mark III, GoPro, Insta360 1R, Mavic Mini, iPhone, and screen capture for anything that I record on the MacBook. JPEG is where all of my photos live that have been rendered out of Lightroom or Photoshop. RAW is where I store all of my RAW files from my M50 or my 5D Mark III. Then we have renders. Renders is where any YouTube video or any final footage goes. So stuff that I upload to YouTube will live in there. So it's rendered out as DaVinci Resolve and it goes into that folder. Thumbnails are the same for YouTube as well, so anything that I create as a thumbnail for a video, that lives in that folder. Okay, so now we have the folder structure set up. What you want to do next is copy that folder for each new project and give it a name. Now, for the naming convention, I use the following format. I use year, month, day, and then a project description. This way I have two different ways of finding out where my project or content lives. I can either remember the date it was recorded on, or I can remember what it was called at the time. You can of course come up with your own naming convention. Although this is a good one, I'd recommend using it. You can have it, it's free. Think of it as a late Christmas present. You're welcome. All that's left to do now is just copy your content into the corresponding folders, and then you have a nice organized workflow for photos and videos. Now, there is one step that I like to take, and this is optional for you guys, but I like to do it myself. Basically, whenever I finish a project, whether it's a video that I've uploaded to YouTube or photos that I've delivered to a client, I like to copy that entire project folder over onto my Western Digital MyCloud. This is just some sort of external backup that I have rather than carrying everything around with me, and I probably should look into some sort of cloud-based storage on top of that, so I have a backup of my backup should anything go catastrophically wrong. In fact, if you use one, let me know down in the comments. I'd like to look into that a little bit more, and perhaps someone watching this video as well might find it useful. And that's all from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you got any comments or questions, let me know down below. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I am @ShootingDave, and as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya. I can't reach.